Why do Christians sometimes starve? I'm talking about food, I'm talking about hunger, I'm talking about the reality that sometimes Christians don't have adequate water, adequate clothing, or an adequate food supply. This, in spite of the fact that I recently preached a message from Matthew chapter 6, where Jesus said, "But seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." And these things He was referring to were the basic supplies of food, drink, clothing. So why is it? Is God not living up to His promise? The reality is, the Bible teaches it rains on the just and on the unjust. But what about Matthew 6? It sounds like Jesus there is making a Loctite promise. But seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Well, the answer to that is actually found in the text itself. This is one of those cases where the King James Version is actually an advantage for us to read and understand the text, and to address the question that's on the table right now. Matthew 6:33 in the King James Version says this, and it sounds just like the way I quoted a while ago, but there's a very slight difference. "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." You say that sounds like a lot like what you just quoted a while ago when I quoted the New King James Version. But seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Only two differences, I think, in that verse, if I am looking at it correctly. Added the word ye early on, and then instead of the word to near the end, it's unto. What's the big difference there? Well, the word ye is a huge difference for us. When we read Matthew 6:33 in the modern translations, we don't have that distinction. Jesus is addressing Christians here, His disciples, as a group. He's addressing them collectively. Matthew 6 is part of the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus, throughout this sermon, is giving instructions on how to live a life that's pleasing to the Lord, how to live a godly life. And sometimes He speaks in the second person singular, thee or thou, and He's talking about situations for an individual. And other times He's using the second person plural, ye, you, or in Southern dialect, y'all, a group of Christians. In this passage, He uses the word ye, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you, plural. Okay? So collectively, we're to seek God together and seek His righteousness together. First and foremost, seek His kingdom and His righteousness as Christians together, and then God will provide for us as Christians. And then the Bible teaches for those of us who are actually getting those things, we're to share it with those who aren't getting those things. The key is understanding that this is meant to be a community aspect. We're supposed to share these things. It's what we see in the early church in the book of Acts. They shared their possessions with one another when they saw needs that others among them had. 1 Timothy 6:17, command those who are rich in this present age not to be haughty, not to trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God who gives us richly all things to enjoy. It's okay to enjoy your wealth and your riches, but you must also be generous, be good. It says, let them do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to give, willing to share. You say, well, you're talking about rich people. That doesn't apply to me. Hey, listen, I'm talking to you, American Christian. We are wealthy. We are rich. We are so blessed. We need to be looking out for the Christians in the world who aren't so rich and so blessed. As they too are seeking the kingdom of God and His righteousness, God is providing for us to provide for them. Let's be generous. One of the main reasons, yes, there is always the possibility that there's some Christians who are being lazy, and that's why they don't have the basic necessities. Yes, there's always a possibility that Christians are being rebellious toward God, and that's why they're not having the basic necessities in their life. But I want to suggest to you that one of the reasons why Christians sometimes go hungry, the reason why sometimes Christians are starving, is because sometimes Christians are stingy and not sharing with the ones in need.